The Right Side with Doug Billings.
I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield, electromagnetic pulse. Electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code Doug.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right side with Doug Billings, right side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to the Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God. And his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
All right. Hi, America. Hi, Kansas. Hi, everybody else, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for watching The Right Side with Doug Billings. Here we are coming to you live. And this is going to be quite something, really. The news out of Kansas. By the way, determined prayer, determined patriotism. It's how we roll over here. Doug Billings, your illustrious and grassroots servant leader host, coming to you live on X from the great state of Kansas, smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain, ladies and gentlemen, putting our patriotism, the intent of the Founding Fathers first. We're being faithful to their intent. That's what we do and how we roll. And this show, by the way, is how I make a living. This is all separate from my campaign that you all know about. This is all separate from that. So I want you to head over to DougBillings.us. DougBillings.us, ladies and gentlemen, www. In case you're from Raytown, Missouri, www.DougBillings.us, DougBillings.us. And if you like it, if you like the show, if you like the content, we have been doing this for 5 years, ever since the onset of the COVID nonsense, where multiple millions of people were told to lock down and mask up for nothing other than political acumen, political signaling, and so forth. Local big news in Kansas, though, that is making national headlines. In June, we just closed the books here in 2025 on our fiscal quarter, the month of June, and the tax collection surplus is over $1 billion, ladies and gentlemen, $72 million more than what the so-called swamp establishment experts expected. So that's in case you're keeping score, that's a 7.4% increase of an overage, and it's 3% higher than it was last year. That's right. Kansas apparently is swimming in cash over here. Now, before you think that it's all Laura Kelly's fault to her credit, hang on a minute. It's the Kansas legislature that's responsible for this surplus that we have. So good job, Republicans in Kansas. There's a lot of work to do, though. But here's the question, right? What are we going to do with that money? What are we going to do with it? Are we going to let the establishment bureaucrats in Topeka waste it on bloated programs, radical, liberal, communist-socialist, formerly known as Democrat, ladies and gentlemen? Don't forget, one of the mainstays on my show, The Right Side, for the last 5 years has been pointing out to you that the Democratic Party no longer exists. They have blended communism and socialism together. They are the Commu-Socialist Party. They're clearly not a pro-America political party. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. So are we going to seize this moment? Are we going to unleash a MAGA economic boom in the Sunflower State? Because I'm telling you, this surplus of cash that we have, that we now have, is proof. It's proof that we can slash taxes and cut regulations, get rid of redundancies and red tape, get rid of the bureaucracy, and put money back into the pockets of people everywhere in this state without, by the way, having to sacrifice our values and without having to put forth massive billionaire packages for battery plants that don't even function properly. I've been putting forth for a long time now, prior to everything that I've engaged with now in the state, my K-Doge plan. I said that we ought to copy what was put forth in a template with Elon and President Trump, the Doge plan, the Department of Government Efficiency. We should do it in Kansas. It's based on that model. I think we should. It would bring the shrinkage of government. It would protect our pro-life policies and principles. It would make Kansas the envy of the nation. Redundancy, fraud, waste, and abuse all discovered. And I'm told by the team that has been volunteering for me to look at the public records, there's about another $1 billion worth of savings that we may be able to realize. And so all of a sudden the conversation is very serious about eliminating the state portion of property tax, which isn't the lion's share of property tax. We still have to deal with the county and how they assess property taxes and so forth. That's an issue. Mill levies and all. That all has to come into the discussion. But we've got this money. So let's give it back to the people of Kansas. Let's break it down. We brought in $1 billion in taxes last month. Last month, $72 million more than what, as I said, the experts in Topeka predicted. 7.4% surplus. And it's growing faster than it did last year. And it's because the legislature has cut expenditures and spending and so forth. Certainly not our communist socialist governor. It's not to her credit. But it's not just numbers on a page, folks. It's your money, the money that you earned through hard work, running a business, running a farm or a ranch, building our communities, building faith-based endeavors and churches and so forth. The question is, how do we use the surplus to benefit Kansas families and businesses? So first, I think we need to talk about tax cuts. Well before the election cycle, I've been advocating that K-Doge plan that I told you about. And it's that simple because that plan can slash property taxes that are crushing homeowners, ranchers, veterans, retired people, business owners, farmers, all of us. Young people who want to experience the American dream of home ownership are finding it impossible. We can't have a single-income family anymore because we're out of control with property taxes and other taxes in general. Back in the day, and it can be possible again, mom would stay home with the kids, dad would go to work, one family income would be sufficient. We need to get back to that. That's what's called American traditional family values. And no, ultimately, I don't care if it's the mom that goes to work or the dad, but I think that if it's a purist perspective that you're looking for, that's the model that's biblical and that it works. It's proven time and time again. Property taxes, by the way, in Kansas are some of the highest in the region. If you haven't already heard that, that's well known. In 2024, Kansans paid an average of 1.34% of their home's value in property taxes. For many of you, it's much higher than that. That's your wealth being siphoned off by bureaucrats. And the founding fathers had no intention of this. And I will put a case to you that, and here's a pro tip for you, I don't even think property tax is constitutional. I mean, if you really want to get down to it. With the surplus that we have, we can lower property tax rates and we can give people relief. It's not an end-all. There are many other things, as I mentioned, the home valuation system, etc. But imagine, if you will, keeping $1,000 in your pocket every year to invest in your family, your business, your farm, your ranch, your church. That's the MAGA way. That's the America First way. That's the founding fathers' way. That's what they intended. The second thing is that we need to cut income taxes for small businesses and, I think, individuals. We need to look at the entire array of income taxes. In my view, this also, by the way, includes farmers and ranchers, small business owners. You get that. Kansas is home to over 80,000 small businesses. It employs nearly half, that small business demographic, that employs nearly half of the entire Kansas workforce. But high taxes, red tape, and bureaucracy are strangling the growth of these operations. And I think that it should be easy. Look, you work with the legislature. We've got a Republican majority. It should be easy to have them work on the state income tax rate for, just as by way of an example, for businesses from 7% to 5%. That would free up capital for hiring, for expanding, for innovation, for technology. That's how we create jobs. We build a MAGA economic boom from Wichita to Topeka to Dodge City to Lawrence, everywhere in between, western Kansas as well. Everybody benefits from it. That's the kind of thing we can do with this surplus that we've been told exists today. But the kicker is we can't let the surplus be squandered by the bureaucrats. We can't let that happen. We spend millions of dollars on overlapping programs and bloated agencies. KDOJ is going to find that out. We could audit every department. Certainly a governor could come in, whoever that may be, and they could order an audit of every department that reports up to that office. And we should do that to root out inefficiency, to root out fraud, and to redirect funds to where it matters, to lowering taxes, to furthering the conservative agenda, protecting life, securing the Second Amendment, bringing other businesses in like SpaceX, which we can do much differently than the Panasonic plant. We don't have to give multi-billion-dollar tax breaks and star bonds to businesses to lure them into Kansas. Kansas is in the middle of the country. We have we have logistics in our favor. We are in the middle of the country. A manufacturing plant here makes perfect sense. There's other ways, and we can discuss at a show for another time, but these are the topics that we need to address, that we can make sure that with this surplus, lowering taxes, protecting the unborn, Second Amendment, bringing companies here, SpaceX, not to mention also, I want to meet with Trump and bring the U.S. Space Force to Kansas. We're the center of the country. It makes sense that the Space Force should be located in the center of its country. No more woke idealism, no more woke agendas in schools. This money could be used for all sorts of things. We could use part of the surplus fund for example, talk about life and how we have to rebrand our approach to this and our approach to women, quite frankly. That surplus money could be used to create better pregnancy crisis centers, faith-based, American family value-centered pregnancy crisis centers that would give mothers the support they need to choose life. That's a pro-life investment from a surplus that honors Kansas values. And we shouldn't be shy about talking about that. Now, some of you think, the pundits and the critics out there, Doug, can we afford this? Can we afford these tasks? Yes, we can. The surplus proves it. The surplus proves that Kansas is overtaxing you. We don't need to hoard your money in Topeka. We need to give it back to you so you can decide how to spend it. That's liberty, by the way. That's the vision of our founding fathers. And that's capitalism. That's why the KDOJ plan makes sense. And yeah, we do need to look at the assessment process, yes, of the home value assessment process, because home assessments and valuations are not fair, and in many cases, I'm telling you, they're outright immoral in their application of unfairness. Red tape is killing the industry, the homeowner industry. I'd like to cut regulations by at least 30% across the board. Ladies and gentlemen, look, this $1 billion, $1 billion with a B, surplus, is a game changer for Kansas, but only if we have the courage to act, only if we have a bold leader in office, and conservatives in the House and Senate who are not plagued by or held captive by political correctness. Let's get the job done. The establishment in both parties wants to waste this kind of money, and I mean, evidence of the obvious in history prove it. I think it should be given back to you. We need to fight for tax cuts, lean government, pro-life Kansas values, because Kansas deserves the MAGA economic boom that President Trump has brought to America. So all of this If you like it, if you like this message, help me to continue the right side with Doug Billings, this program, to bring the truth as I've done for the past 5 years. Prior to this, as you know, VP of Human Resources, where I negotiated multi-billion-dollar deals in the United States and in Europe, I'm no stranger to the art of the deal. We can do this. It's easy, really. All it takes is passionate, patriotic, convicted dedication. And it can be done. So, folks, anyway, this is how I make a living. Please feel free to visit me over at DougBillings.us. DougBillings.us. You can support the program over there. I never charge you a dime for watching the show, but if you like it, if you like the content, if you want the show to continue, this is, again, as I said, separate and apart from my campaign. We are making a living, bringing you the truth. It's ultimately, this is my calling, to bring you the truth, no matter what I end up doing, and we will continue to endeavor to do just that. The governor's race will continue, yes, but separate from this show. Ladies and gentlemen, we are, I say this all the time, we're in this thing together. We've got to stand shoulder to shoulder. We've got to believe in this republic. We've got to believe that we've got to get back to the intent of the founding fathers. You're going to do it. The great reawakening is only just beginning. We have a lot of work to do. We have midterms coming up, an election cycle next year. We've got a lot of work to do, but continue to wake people up, to spread shows like this one, and let's do that. Let's wake people up to the beauty of what this country and this republic was intended to be by the founding fathers, with capitalism at its root that lifts up more people out of poverty and out of despair than any other mechanism in the history of mankind. Believe it, ladies and gentlemen, we are in this thing together. God bless you. For the republic. Cheers. I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield, electromagnetic pulse. Electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code DOUG.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.